Game started.
DDR56. Okay, let's start with C4 from Israel. Okay, we got a reverse Sicilian here. And he's going with bishop c5. So, could I continue with my normal plan of g3 and pawn here? I don't know. Well, he did not bring his knight out early. If he plays bishop c5 and knight to f6, threatening knight to g4, sometimes that prevents me from getting to this setup because I have to worry about defending the f2 pawn. But he didn't do that. He just brought the bishop out and then made a bunch of pawn moves. So that gave me time to castle here. His pawn moves weren't all useless because he also prevented me from playing bishop to g5, which I might have liked to play. So let's kick that bishop. I want to kick the bishop before he has a chance to set up a queen. A queen and bishop battery, and that would prevent me from playing this move because h2 there is a good square for the king to run to unpin the f-pawn and push it forward. So now let's open up a line for the dark squared bishop. Yeah, you know, the next move I'm thinking of is knight to a4, just capturing the bishop here. This bishop has nowhere to run, right? Can't go anywhere along this diagonal. Well, everywhere it goes. It could go to, that is true, it could go to e4. So let's go here first to unpin the knight. But if I go there, he's going to play knight to b. He's going to play knight to b4, threatening knight c2. So let's play here. Stop knight b4. He goes there. Okay, now queen here, followed by knight here, would... well, I could do the knight move first. Do the knight there. And if the bishop goes here, then I could unpin. And one way or another, I'm going to get the bishop pair because he will either let me take his bishop with my knight. Oh, okay, he does it this way. So all that agonizing for nothing. And maybe I want to play queen e1 anyway at some point, but let's not do that right away. Let's develop the bishop and target the loose pawn. He defends it with the queen by moving the knight out of the way. And he's also looking at this square. So now I can lift my queen up and connect the rooks. And I'm prepared to exchange any knight that shows up on the d4 square. So my plan from this point, okay, he just traded. My plan was to play f4 and even f5 and maybe trap that bishop. So he gets rid of the bishop. So I have the bishop pair, and he has a pair of knights. And I think I will trade that knight off at this point and give up the bishop pair. The thing is, if I move my queen, he's got knight to b3. So it's not so simple. But let's try and make this knight a little bit awkward. And look at, he still has 8 minutes left, and he started with 8 minutes. So he's basically been moving. Well, it's 8 and 4, so he's been moving at 4 seconds per move. Anyway, I want to get my queen away from the rook there. And then bring my other rook over. I could have gone to f2 and attacked the pawn, but he can defend it with c5. Defends pretty easily. Maybe that was worth doing. If I force him to defend the pawn, then I come to this square, then I can push this pawn forward with the threat on the pawn on b7. Might be something. Anyway, he is pausing to think for the first time in the game. Let's see what he comes up with. Sometimes this is where people make their first blunder, when they have to stop and think. Happens to me. Yeah, not so obvious what his plan is. I still am centralizing my pieces, and maybe he's planning to play f5. So I was thinking f5, e5. Takes, rook takes, rook, pawn takes. That would leave me with the battery on the f file. Ah, so he doesn't want to do that. He wants to play this way. So still, do I have play e5 here? Hits the queen and the pawn. He takes, take with the rook. I guess that just loses some material. Let's drop back and take a look at this pawn. One idea is to push the pawn forward, let him take, and then play rook here to okay, so he defended the pawn. Yeah, that's what I wanted. So now when I play here to hit the queen, I'm also hitting the b pawn. So he takes, I take the b pawn. He can take again, take the rook with check, he takes back, take here. Not entirely clear. Is it better to do something to prepare it? So what's the problem with e5? He will take, I will take, he will take again. I trade rooks with check, and then I take back here. And if he takes, take with the rook. He'll have a rook here, I'll have a rook here, he'll have a knight here, I'll have a bishop here. This pawn will be gone, this pawn will be gone. And, you know, his rook might get active right away, coming into the second rank. Let's bring my king over as a way of preparing e5. So my king is closer to stopping his rook from penetrating on the e file. So he drops his queen back. Well, so now there's no harm in playing this, right? I push, he takes. I'll take here, hitting his rook. He attacks, I retreat, he takes, I take. Or he could defend his pawn, and I can take the... he did, he just defended. But isn't this something for me? Like bishop here. Yeah, let's put the bishop here first. If he takes, I'll take back, and that'll open up the f file, which should be good for me. So he doesn't want to take. And then I can put my queen to f3, lining up behind the bishop, putting more pressure on b7 there. Aha. Moves his rook around that way. Maybe he's going to this square, or this square blockading the pawn. Okay, let's put pressure on on b7 and see what he does about it. He ignores it. Okay. So I can take this pawn first. Then I can take b7. Okay, and now his knight comes around this way. I'm not sure what the plan is. Let's see. But if I retreat my bishop, I have to be careful, right? If I retreat the bishop to if I retreat the bishop to e4, which is kind of where I want to play it, to trap this knight, not trap it, but to limit its motion, he can play f5. And let's see, I need to keep my queen in touch with the bishop. So let's drop back this way. Gives the bishop the f3 square to retreat to. If he plays f5. Okay, but he's going for that square with the knight. So what to do? Yeah, it's one of those squares where I can never get rid of the knight. That is kind of annoying, I have to admit. So he controls these light squares. So I can just take the knight off, I guess. And I have 2 pawns for the exchange. Maybe it's worth it. Because I won a pawn and I'll get another pawn when I take the knight. And so he's going to try and open things up a bit. Do I really want to take that? Is there something else I can play here? Let's defend that pawn for now. Yeah, that's what happens when you move your pawns forward. They get they get distracted here. Okay, so he's going to go there. Is his knight going to be so good on that square? Maybe it is. Okay, he's taking the pawn. And let's see. So if I attack the knight, he can defend it. He can't easily defend it, can he? So I can go here. His only square is... I can defend it that way. That's true. So still his knight has nowhere to go, right? So let's his knight can go to that square. Let's drop the queen back. I have an idea here. I want to just cover all the moves that the cover all the squares the knight can go to. So I'm covering b1 and c2. And then I'm going to or line up with the queen and the rook on the E file here. Okay, he was taking a look at that pawn, and I want to go ahead and defend it for now. The queen was defending it, but I want to move the queen to E1 here. So rook E2, queen E1, then bishop to bishop somewhere. Actually, bishop staying on this diagonal keeps mate threats alive here. But I guess there's no place I can stay on that diagonal. Maybe G4, bishop F5 is an idea. Now the other place to put the bishop is here on D5. But anyway, we'll see. So I'm down to 1 minute and 20 seconds. Let's see if I can pull this off in the time remaining. Okay, here we go. Let's line up on E2. Yeah, so he won a pawn, but as a result, his knight is completely out of play, and I'm just trying to keep it completely out of play. Okay, and queen E1. I already had a tactic. No, I didn't. Now I have a tactic. Bishop here check is the tactic. It didn't work before because bishop check, the king could have gone to F1 defending his rook, but now his rook is under-defended. So after bishop to H7 check, the king takes the bishop, I take the rook. The king comes here, I take the rook as well. So having an extra piece is handy. So let's see if I can keep the advantage here. Have a mating type of threat with queen to E4. His knight can escape now. His knight can go to C2. But I have won the exchange. So it was interesting trade of advantages there. Yeah, so he blocks the check. Let's just come in here with the queen now. Queen here. Where is his queen going? Or maybe here is even stronger. Keeps his queen from running to the side. And gives this queen G8 check possibility. Rook here check. King keeps running forward. Can take the pawn here. Depends on where his queen goes, of course. Or maybe just trades. Okay, down to 43 seconds. Anyway, it was an interesting trading of advantages. I was a pawn up, and then he won the pawn back, but his knight was out of play. Now he can get his knight back into play, but he had to give up the exchange. But he lost the exchange, so here we go. He just went for the trade. So I think this is a winning endgame. How can he defend his c-pawn, for example, and just push those pawns through? Yeah, so now he can go here or here and attack my pawns as well. So let's quickly win that c-pawn. Yeah, so he can win this pawn, and when he takes it, he'll defend this pawn. So I'm going to go here so that when he takes that pawn, I will have this pawn in my sights. But I'm not even going to take it because it's better just to push this pawn, right? 28 seconds. This knight still is having a little trouble getting back into the game, so he has discovered a check here. That's true. Sometimes checks can give the knight an extra tempo.
Black resigns.
But in this case, it wasn't going to help. I was going to get a queen. Okay, well, that was a good game. I will upload this and see you guys later. Bye.